Above everything else, Donald Trump loves tariffs as an instrument, and he loves announcing tariffs. They are something that he can do unilaterally without Congress, though there are some judicial procedures working their way through to try to put some limits on that. And for him, they demonstrate decisive action and they compel partners to engage with him.
Mr. Donald Trump is talking tariffs again. He's now threatening to impose 50% tariffs on the EU. He's just done a post on Truth Social and he says that trade talks with Brussels are going nowhere and he's recommending the new rates start from the 1st of June. Well, let's now speak with an expert. Dmitry Grozoubinski is a real expert in trade policy and he's the author of the book Why Politicians Lie About Trade. I mean, you could have just not had the last two words at the end of that book title. Dmitry, welcome to the show. So tell us what's going on.
Sure. So you may recall Donald Trump announced his liberation tariffs, what feels like a million years, but was just a few short months ago, part of which he put tariffs on almost everyone in the world. And then shortly thereafter, he suspended them and he said, we're going to have negotiations with countries. And if they are good negotiations, we won't put those tariffs back.
Was this like the 90-day pause?
Indeed. It was a 90-day pause, though he doesn't generally stick to these kind of deadlines. The overall message was, now you've seen I'm serious, come and talk to me to avoid this, see what we can do here. And the UK did, which is why the UK now has the UK-US deal. And the EU talked to him as well. However, the EU, because it is a larger player, because it has different interests and more capacity to frankly hurt the US back, said, we're not just going to give you things. We want to see a reciprocal negotiation where, hey, if you're willing to lower some of your tariffs, not the ones that you've just created, the ones you've had originally, we might lower some of ours. Let's do a kind of proper trade deal. Donald Trump isn't satisfied with that. He wants to see unilateral concessions from Europe. And so now he has threatened to, well, he said he is recommending raising tariffs to 50%. And no one's quite clear what that means when a president recommends something.
Gosh, I mean, it's really upping the stakes on all of this. And he's also, tell us about the sort of iPhone or Apple tax, this other 25% import tax.
So one of the priorities of the Trump administration is to move manufacturing back to the United States, and specifically high-end precision manufacturing. Their sense before was there was a concern that too much of the iPhone was made in China. And so production has gradually been shifting from China to other places, most notably India. Apple has made a lot of big investments in India. And now the Trump administration has turned around and said, that's not good enough either. If any iPhone that is made out substantially outside of the United States will face a 25% tariff. Now your listeners should know that is 25% on the price of an iPhone when it crosses the US border, which is significantly less than what you see on a shelf. So if you would normally pay £1,000 for an iPhone, a 25% tariff isn't going to add £250. It'll be 25% on the 300 or so pounds it costs at the border, but it's still quite a lot of money.
Okay. And what do you think sort of prompted all of this? What do you think's been the catalyst for all of this firing off today?
I mean, above everything else, Donald Trump loves tariffs as an instrument, and he loves announcing tariffs. They are something that he can do unilaterally without Congress, though there are some judicial procedures working their way through to try to put some limits on that. And for him, they demonstrate decisive action and they compel partners to engage with him. So now that he's announced this tariff on Apple, for example, Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple, will be on the first flight to Washington, D.C. to sit down with the Trump administration and go, hey, this would be a real problem for us for this, and this reason. What can I do? What can I give you? What are the moves I can make to try to get you to back off a little bit? So this is a way for him to create kind of take hostages, create extortion, create negotiating coin.
Well, it's kind of gangster tactics, isn't it? It's kind of, as you say, it's sort of mafia gangster tactics. But is it working? Because he makes these pronouncements, everybody sort of goes berserk, and then everybody does want to, come and bend the knee and offer some kind of concession. So in his mind, does it work as a strategy for him?
Well, so far the results have been comparatively modest. It's true that everyone has engaged. No one has said, you've hit us with tariffs, we won't talk to you, we're so outraged. The US market is far too important not to at least have the conversation. But then when you look at what he actually managed to extract, he extracted virtually nothing from China. And from the UK, I mean, most analysis, including my own, says that the UK got off very, very lightly in terms of the Danegeld it paid here. So in terms of, he's right that it begins the conversation, but it disrupts the market. And so far, the kind of hostage prices he's been able to extend have been quite modest.
And have you, just very brief, so do you think in a way Britain was good to get that deal signed and all done by Monday last week?
I think the critical thing for the United Kingdom was that its car industry, especially its luxury car industry and its steel industry, was uniquely exposed to certain higher US tariffs, and it needed a fix for that. Okay. So even setting this announcement aside, it was important to get that done, and it was good that they were able to get that done at a low price.
Okay. Dmitry, always good to catch up with you. Thank you very much for your time. That's Dmitry Grozoubinski, who is a trade policy expert.
From the standpoint of America, the EU treats us very, very unfairly, very badly. They have a large tax that we know about, and a VAT tax, and it's a very substantial one.
Mr. President, have you just made a decision on what level you will seek on tariffs in the European Union?
We have made a decision. We'll be announcing it very soon, and it'll be 25%, generally speaking, and that'll be on cars and all of the things. And European Union is a different case than Canada, different kind of case. They've really taken advantage of us in a different way. European Union's it was formed in order to screw the United States. I mean, look, let's be honest. The European Union was formed in order to screw the United States. That's the purpose of it. And they've done a good job of it, but now I'm president.
What will happen if these countries or the EU retaliate?
They can't. I mean, they can try, but they can't.
Thank you very much. My fellow Americans, this is Liberation Day, waiting for a long time. April 2nd, 2025 will forever be remembered as the day American industry was reborn, the day America's destiny was reclaimed, and the day that we began to make America wealthy again. Thanks. So, if you look at that, China, first row, China, 67%. That's tariffs charged to the USA, including currency manipulation and trade barriers. So 67%, I think you can, for the most part, see it. Those with good eyes, with bad eyes. We didn't want to it's very windy out here. We didn't want to bring out the big charts because it had no chance of standing.
President Trump's announcement of universal tariffs on the whole world, including the European Union, is a major blow to the world economy. I deeply regret this choice. Let's be clear-eyed about the immense consequences. The global economy will massively suffer. Uncertainty will spiral and trigger the rise of further protectionism.
We know how important is the relation between the EU and the US for a strong West, for our civilization, also for our economic relations that worth 30% of the world exchange. And so I hope that this meeting can be a new beginning, let's say like that.
I've said repeatedly that I think Europe is an important ally of the United States. The individual countries within Europe are important allies of the United States. But of course we have some disagreements, as friends sometimes do, on issues like trade. And we also have many agreements and many things that we can work on together.